good afternoon. My name is Kelly Redmond, and this is my wonderful co-founder, Gabriella Dweck. We're the founders of OLEO Sustainable Palm Oil Solutions, a venture that transforms waste into sustainable palm oil. But before I get into our company and what we do, I'd like to tell you a little bit about our backgrounds and how we came to found OLEO. Both Gabby and I have backgrounds in engineering, Gabby as a new product development and process engineer in industry, and myself as an environmental engineer in the US Army. We both came to Stanford in the Masters of Engineering Design Impact program with the intent of pivoting our careers to be more impactful within the sustainability sector. And we were very lucky to quickly integrate not only into the sustainability ecosystem here at Stanford, but also the entrepreneurial one. And through a variety of accelerators and programs, which you see listed on the slide, we were very easily able to integrate our current and existing skills and realized that we could implement, that we could really leverage our skills as engineers to have a very large impact within the palm oil problem space, particularly by leveraging synthetic biology. So you probably have heard a lot about palm oil in the news and how its production causes a whole host of environmental and social issues, everything from deforestation to wildlife endangerment and even human rights violations. But what a lot of people don't realize is that palm oil is a major driver of the climate crisis. It's entrenched across global supply chains, not only in processed foods, but also consumer goods and even biofuels. And all the while, it's one of the most carbon-intensive commodities in the world due to the deforestation that occurs at the beginning of its supply chain. Just to give you an idea of its carbon footprint, in just 3 months, fires that were set to clear land in Borneo, a region in Indonesia that produces palm oil, those fires created more greenhouse gas emissions than the entire annual output of the country of Australia. So with this in mind, OLEO has set out to replace palm oil, a very carbon-intensive oil, with a sustainable alternative with the goals of both decreasing emissions and preserving land. And our strategy really becomes evident when you compare our process to that of traditional palm oil production. Within traditional palm oil production, the major input is deforested land, which results in a very carbon-intensive oil, whereas our process leverages recycled biomass waste as an input, creating a lower carbon, more sustainable oil. And I'll pass it over to Gabby to tell you more about our technology.
Great, thank you so much, Kelly. So in our process, we're actually able to leverage 2 steps to transform biomass waste into sustainable oil. And those 2 steps consist first of a microwave hydrolysis pretreatment process in which we extract fermentable sugars from recalcitrant biomass sources. We then take those fermentable sugars and use them as a substrate for oleaginous yeast fermentation, which we ferment to the point of lipid accumulation. The lipids that form have fatty acid profiles really similar to that of conventional palm oil and serve as our sustainable oil replacement. It has applications ranging from the consumer goods industries all the way to the biofuels industry. One really special thing about our process is that it is biomass agnostic. This means we can circumvent traditional issues associated with biomass upgrading, and to date, we've established our process at the benchtop scale and applied it to 19 different sources of biomass, which we've been able to successfully valorize into a palm oil replacement. We've applied this to forest residues, macroalgae, and food and ag waste, but we found that the most efficient methods of production lie in valorizing macroalgae and pumice, which is a byproduct of the winemaking process. We've been really fortunate to raise initial funding, non-dilutive funding from the Stanford ecosystem. We raised $400,000 of non-dilutive funding, which enabled us to set up our lab here at Stanford and demonstrate our technology at the benchtop scale. We also have a paid pilot program with the Hawaii Department of Agriculture where we're upgrading Hawaiian macroalgae grown on wastewater treatment plant effluent for bioremediation into oil. And then we also have demonstrated customer industry validation with an LOI with Cargill. Moving forward, we're looking to scale up our process to the laboratory setting, which would be a 10-liter fermentation, and optimize our process to reach benchmarks set forth in our TEA to reach price parity with traditional palm oil. Finally, we're working to acquire additional customers and raising a $1 million pre-seed round as we spin out of Stanford. So if you're an investor or work in sustainability in a company that uses palm oil as an input, we'd love to chat with you. Thank you so much.